Most guys down the gym lack development in their back and they struggle to feel it and they struggle to see it grow. Well, there's a back exercise that can grow your back like no other, making you look broader and stronger. It is also one of the most butchered exercises down the gym. I'm talking, of course, about the barbell row. Here's what a typical barbell row might look like down your local gym.
Come on. Easy 3. Up. 1. Up. 2. One more. Yes, man.
Does that look anything like a row to you? I know we're not literally replicating rowers when we're rowing in the gym, but at least it should bear some kind of resemblance to it and at least be a horizontal pulling movement. If we did other rowing movements, like we did a barbell row in the gym, here's what it would look like. Doesn't look quite right, does it? So why do people perform barbell rows like this? Well, the main reason comes down to ego. You can load up a shitload more weight and look a whole lot more impressive performing rows this way. And then unfortunately, newer people to the gym see that technique, even from trainers or coaches, and think that's the way to do it. But it's not. It's the same when people are loading up far too much weight when they're squatting and only going down a couple of inches, or when people are loading up far too much weight when they're bench pressing and not even going down to their chest. It's just ego and it cuts the range of motion, and unfortunately it's not the way to do it. By being in a more upright position on the bent over row, the range of motion in our pulling muscles, in our lats, in our traps and our rhomboids is shortened. They're just not moving as far as if you were actually perpendicular to the ground. But why is this bad? Well, lifting with a shorter range of motion but heavier weights is a little bit like trying to make orange juice, but instead of squeezing every last drop out of every orange you can, you only squeeze half of it. And what I mean by that is you're only getting so much from each set. So by lifting with a partial range of motion, you're not developing every portion of the muscle you can. You're not taking it through its full movement, so you're not going to stimulate every part of it. Secondly, the stretch under load you get when lifting with full range of motion is not only highly stimulative for muscle gain, it's also going to improve your mobility. But you will never get that benefit if you only lift with a partial range of motion. You'll never feel that stretch on the muscle. Lastly, lifting with a full range of motion will force you to use less weight. And that's good because you can get as high or even higher of a muscle gain effect, but from lower injury risk and less overall fatigue built up. And when the lower back is involved, like it is in a bent over row, lowering fatigue and lowering injury risk is a big juicy benefit that you definitely want. The jerking and thrusting you see with the lower body with their back angle changing is just an indication that their back isn't strong enough to lift the load that they're trying to lift, even with a shorter range of motion. So in essence, these people are trying to train their backs, but they're using their legs. And really, the only thing that they're actually growing is their ego. So how should we perform a bent over row? Well, ideally like this. Or we can go one step further and lift from a deficit by standing on a weight to increase the distance between us and the ground. Also, we can use slightly smaller plates. That means that the barbell is going to travel further before those plates touch the ground. So the things to note about either of these techniques: we're lifting with a full range of motion with our back muscles being stimulated as much as possible. The torso angle remains completely fixed, meaning there's no other muscle groups involved except your back. So every bit of effort is going into actually growing our back and nothing else. Lastly, it's safe, it's controlled, and it's going to be highly stimulative for growing our back muscles without fatiguing or increasing injury risk. But not everyone is going to have the mobility or the movement skill to get into these positions safely from the off. So using variations where you lift from a slightly higher height or you have a slightly higher back angle to start with is absolutely fine if you're learning the movement. However, I feel like everyone long term has the mobility to get into a full bent over row position where your chest is perpendicular to the ground and you're getting the most from the movement in that way. So to summarize, don't perform bent over rows like you see so many people on Instagram or down the gym performing. The best way to do it, like any exercise, is using your full safe range of motion, getting the most you can from each rep and making sure there's nothing contributing to the movement except your actual back muscles. If you do this, you're going to grow muscle faster, you're going to grow muscle safer, and you're going to do it in a way that is consistent and promotes long-term progress. And who doesn't want that? So, hope this has been useful, and thank you for watching.